welcome in, folks, to another great episode of I've Got a Theory. I'm your host, Henish, and I've got my good friend, Paddy. Paddy, welcome in. So today you're going to be talking about surfboards and potentially how to choose a surfboard. And you've got a theory on surfboard choice, right? And the goal is that it's not just about surfboards. Your theory kind of applies to a lot of things in life.
Yeah, without a doubt. So first of all, for everybody and Mr. Henish, who's the gracious host here, let me share my location. I am currently at Fort Point, San Francisco, California. I just got some amazing waves right in here on the inside where it gets a little shallow, but oh my God, it was extremely fun.
That's awesome. I didn't know. I've never seen surfers there, and I've been up there a dozen times. How many other surfers were in the water with you?
Well, it's interesting because this crowd has sort of evolved over the years. There's kind of an old school crowd who's super aggressive. 2006, I got a punch in the eye. But now everybody, there's kind of a new generation. So there's still some old school guys like behind me, kind of hooting and hollering. But in general, you could come out here and catch waves. Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, what can I say? California living.
Well, so tell me your theory, Paddy, because you didn't share the full thing, and I want to hear it.
So the full theory is that when you're doing something very personal, like surfing, it's a very personal experience because nobody else is on the board with you. You have to choose what type of board you're going to use. And a lot of factors can change that, where you are, what type of wave you're going to get, what type of crowd you're in. But if you change, some of the dimensions of your board, how short it is, how wide it is, how thick it is, but ultimately what I've found is the leaders. So with the surfboard, one of the measurements is the amount of liters of water that it displaces when it's fully submerged, right? Okay. So a big longboard, you can say, would be about 40, 50 liters. So when you totally submerge underwater, it's going to displace 50 liters of water. And what I've been doing a lot lately is just keep going down, 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 So I have a board right now. It's about, I think, 26 liters. And it's the smallest liter measurement I've ever surfed. It's really changed a lot. It's changed, it's kind of changed my life. Man, I'm thinking about getting the tattoo.
That says 26 liters?
26 liters. So here we go. I got it right here. So this actually, actually, you know what? I took out your board, the one that from your house. I took this one out today. It was awesome. But
great.
My small board right here, it's amazing. Made by Shame Australia. Yeah. It's an absolute brilliant board, and I really feel like it's changed my life.
Well, what's the difference? What's the big difference between that and the other boards you've been riding?
Well, so if you think about it, let's do this. Okay, so this is the board that you gave me, right? Big, long board. And if you think about this, when you're on the top of water, and the fact that it displaces a larger body of water, naturally, when you're being pushed on a wave, you're going to float higher, okay? So you're going to be floating on top of the wave. Whereas this, and it's in its little container right now, this board right here, which is a way smaller liter amount, you're in the water. So you're actually being propelled, you're deeper inside of the wave. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. So now you feel more you're more a part of the wave at that point.
Yeah, you're in the wave rather than on the wave.
So does that make a difference? It's now that you've discovered that you like these smaller displacement waves or displacement boards, does that mean that that's going to be your go-to every time, or is it still going to vary depending on the conditions?
Well, hey, that's a really good question. Because if you look at the conditions right now, right? Look at this guy way up at the top. I don't know if you can see him. This guy's wild. he's got a foil board with an actual kite in his hand. That's a cowboy right there. But so when it's this type of thick, big water, it favors a board more similar to the one that you gave me, because you just have a lot more surface area, and in a certain sense, it benefits you to be floating on it. It's not to say that you couldn't do this with a small leader board, but each one has its pluses and minuses in different situations.
Yeah, interesting. So tell me, how does this lesson in terms of customized boards and understanding your preferences apply to the rest of us that may not surf all the time?
So I was thinking about that, because this is a very specific, knowledge that is out on wave with certain stuff. But I think it is pretty universally applicable, because let me tell you about my process of getting here to small leaderboard, right? So first of all, in like anything, to learn something, especially something for challenging like this, it takes a lot of time. There's a lot of hours. You're really bad. You suck. You have to go through a lot of toil to be able to feel like you can experiment with something, right?
Yeah.
But let's take the example of a kid who's applying to go to college. He's trying to figure out which college. He's a junior, senior in high school, and he's like, hey, what college am I going to go to? My process for finding a small leaderboard was I consulted a lot of experts. I looked up pro surfers who have body dimensions similar to mine. I looked into a lot of the expertise of how boards were made, what characteristics did different things. So if you take the analogy of the kid going into college, he talks to his college advisor, tries to figure out what schools are going to create different opportunities for him, or what's going to be his quote unquote brand. And one of the things that I found in my journey was, as much as you can consult an expert, as much as you talk to the people who know, the body of knowledge, in the end of the day, you're the only person on that wave. So in the end of the day, you just got to do what's for you. And I think that would be true for a kid in college. You could talk to a college advisor to tell you to do X, Y, Z. But if and if you know who you are, you know what you want, and you know what it means, it doesn't really matter what an expert tells you.
Yeah, it's all personal, and it comes down to everything, right? Whether it's the type of pencil or pen that you like, right? And a lot of people like these Pilot G2 pens that write so smooth, but then everyone has their own preference of, do you want 07, 10, 05 in terms of the width, right? Or bicycles or cars or anything else that you're using. We have an infinite variety of options. And then now what we're finding is that the more you've become familiar with something, the more picky that you get with it, right? And that's the case with you and your surfboards. You've spent enough time where now you know the nuance between each board. You know what you like and what you don't like, and that's the truth with anyone that's an expert and they have particular tools or things they like. Like this past week, I had to rent a car and I got some giant SUV and I really disliked it. And I just remember thinking, I was like, yeah, that's why I prefer smaller vehicles that are a little bit more nimble. But someone would like that vehicle. It must sell. They wouldn't have made it, and so people like giant SUVs. But it's not a good fit for everyone. You got to really know what you are about and what's important to you to make that work. And it's the same when you get that advice, like, what kind of car should I buy? I don't know, just offhand, probably a Honda Accord. But if that's not the right fit for you, then you should probably get something else, right? I mean, if you need to haul around surfboards and stuff, maybe it's not the best choice for you. What do you think?
Well, and what I'd take it a step further too. I would almost say be defiant about your particularities. Be defiant about what you want. I think a lot of times, people just listen, and it's good to listen. Hey, you got to listen, but at a certain point, you have to make a choice, and you should be, right, Remy? Remy, you making a choice?
His choice is he wants attention.
Remy, you want attention, boy? Here's Molochai's sidekick.
Yeah, so that's an interesting advice, to be defiant
of your choice, right? I mean, it's taking it to the next level. Yeah, you know what's right for you. So I think, I don't know, Yeah. I don't
And
know.
it could
What do you think
change.
about that, Henish?
It could change too. That's the thing, right? So it's like one of those things where, I was talking to a guest earlier today about doing stool samples, and that's kind of a gross thing to do. But if that means that you could really uncover some stuff about your health, it would be worthwhile, right? So you got to kind of define your boundaries as well in terms of not necessarily your boundaries, but like also break through things that you might be uncomfortable with to try it out and understand. Right? You're willing to try all kinds of different boards to find out what you like, and something might come out next week, next month, next year that's completely different, but you're probably willing to jump on a wave and get on that board and see if it's any different or better. You're not just going to stick with what you've got and say, this is it forever from now until I'm 65, and this is all I'm going to ride, right? That doesn't happen.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's always evolving. Like, hey, I took out your San Diego board today, which I got to say, I had a great time, man. Caught some amazing waves right here on the inside. Look at this little piece right here. Oh, my gosh. Look at Remy. Remy, you like that? You like that, boy? So, yeah, buddy. So,
It looks like you're on the water. It looks like the waves are crashing right up against your car there.
I know. Isn't it a great place to do a podcast?
Yeah. Yeah, I wish I was on site there too. Well, cool. Well, Paddy, I didn't mean to belabor the point, but that was a interesting talk, and I like the advice about being defiant and understanding a little bit more about surfboard displacement, which is also a new thing that I learned today.
Yeah.
Well, awesome, guys. Well, appreciate your time, Paddy. If you guys like the show, please subscribe, comment below. And Paddy, heads up, I'm getting picked up by a sponsor for these shows too. So who knows?
Oh, wow. Handball, making it work. Yeah.
Well, Paddy, thanks for joining me on another great episode of I've Got a Theory. Please stay tuned for future episodes.